Hey, this is Antandra, and today I'm going to make some dubstep womps and wobbles. And we're going to make a sound that sounds like this. So let's get started. Alright, first off I'm going to grab a new instance of Serum. Double click to add it to a MIDI track. So now it's just a basic sawtooth wave. It sounds like this. Alright, so just playing that on the QWERTY keyboard because I have this key mode enabled up here. You can toggle that pressing M on the keyboard, and that turns your computer keyboard into a piano. You can use whatever MIDI controller you like, or if you rather just double click and add a note by double clicking, and that's perfectly fine as well for what we're doing right now. So that's what I'm going to do, and let's just hear that. So it's just a C3 saw wave in Serum, and I'm going to pitch that down several octaves, change it to basic shapes, and then I'm going to change the wavetable position over to square wave, and that sounds like this. And so now I can just add a filter and drag LFO1 onto that, and that's already pretty close to what we're going for. Now if I want to take it further, I can turn on oscillator B, select analog basic shapes, and now I have a sine wave, and I can go ahead and select FM from B right here and turn down the volume on B, because we don't actually need to hear that because we're just using it as a modulation source now for oscillator A. So let's go ahead and turn that up a bit and then hear what that does. And you can change it a little bit and it sounds like this, or bring it up more. And so you can see it gets pretty extreme in those higher ranges. We can also modulate this. And that's a pretty neat effect. You can also try FM from the sub oscillator, because I find it has a slightly different effect. So I'm going to turn off oscillator B, and let's just hear that. Let's turn down the level of the sub, and I can change the octave down. So you can see it dramatically distorts the sound. I'm going to turn that back off and go back to oscillator B and just say FM from B again. And that sounds pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add hyperdimension. And so for now I'm going to turn down the actual hyper and leave on the dimension. So I'm going to turn this mix up a bit and turn the size down. So that sounds like this. Subtle, but you can notice it if I turn it off and then back on. And you can also adjust the hyper to taste. Maybe retrig mode. Play with the unison amount. And let's try a phaser on that too. Now it's fun to turn down the rate, and then you can just kind of adjust this frequency manually. So let's go ahead and warp that with that LFO one as well. We can adjust the feed amount. That's extreme. And then finally the phase. Let's try automating that too. So you can have a lot of fun with that, and we could compress it a bit. The more you turn up that threshold, the more it's going to compress along with how much ratio you have, and then you can make up for it with the gain here. So that's pretty cool. You can also do multi-band compression. Gives it a lot more treble. Just depends what you're going for in the mix. I like the subtle stuff, so I'm going to stick with that for now. And let's try another filter at the end. So let's try a Moog Low Pass 18. Let's go ahead and put a filter modulation there. Let's reduce that resonance. Give it a little drive, a little bit of fat. Could also change this LFO shape, so rather than having it go up and then down, we could just have it go up. Can bend it. And we could try even changing the octave of this oscillator now. Or even semitones, like we can try 7 semitones. It's kind of cool. Could adjust this amount here. It's all just a matter of taste and tweaking it to your liking. We could also go for wobbles, so rather than a womp sound, we could do it's just changing this LFO rate here. We can add triplets and dotted notes, so we have more options in here. You can even randomize this for every note if you want. You could right click and say mod source and make it either one of these chaos algorithms, or you could make it a let's see, you could make it another LFO, which is kind of cool. But you can also do this note on random 1 or 2, or note noise. So random 1, let's see what that does. So I can adjust this depth here, or the rate, and then I can also, on the matrix tab, adjust the modulation amount that's possible within that randomness. So let's hear it now. Can try the smooth knob as well. And you could also play with delaying it, so it doesn't come in with the LFO immediately, but maybe after like a 16th note. Yeah, or you could even give it some rise so that it flows into the modulation smoothly. Yeah, and then we could turn on this always in portamento, turn on legato and mono. We could actually duplicate this note and then hold shift and press up to shift it up an octave, duplicate it again, shift it down, and then maybe duplicate it again and shift it down again. And now we're going to get some pitch bends involved. So now I could rename this Wubs and Wobbles, and then just hit record here and say from Serum, audio from Serum, and I can enable that and just hit record. Alright, so now that that's recorded, I could edit it to my heart's content. So and you definitely don't want it to be clipping when you do this, so I probably should turn that down slightly. I could record it again even with it turned down slightly so that it doesn't clip. So I'm going to go ahead and press play and stop so it's ready to go. And then I'm going to hit record right here. So I let that run a little bit over. As you can see, it's 9 bars instead of 8, so I can just bring that in, control click and crop sample. So now it fits in a 4-bar loop more exactly, if that's what you're going for. It really depends. So let's hear that back. And then with a beat, it sounds like this. Let's go ahead and slow that down halftime. Rather, halftime. Okay. Then I could speed my beat up, of course. And there you go. You have some wubs and wobbles. And you can just mess around with the settings to your heart's content. Keep resampling and adding different variations and yeah, just follow your heart. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and until next time, I'm Antandra. Have a wonderful day.